So the MotoGP TT Assen weekend 2026 just wrapped up yesterday as I record this on the Monday. And it has been a crazy weekend with some amazing racing, especially in the MotoGP sprint and the Moto3 as usual. Although a special shout out to the Harley Davidson Bagger Cup. It was actually really fun to watch. I have been to the Friday and the Saturday, then watched the Sunday from home. But I thought, because I have seen every session this weekend, except the warm-up on Sunday, I want to do a ranking of driver ratings as we came to expect some drivers to perform better or worse than what they did this weekend. And I will give my ratings, tell a bit about why, when, and what sessions they performed good or bad, and then I'll do some Moto 2 and Moto 3 honorable mentions and dishonorable mentions. So before we get into the ranking, which is from worst to best, and I'll say a tiny bit about every driver because I don't want to make this video too long. You'll see footage of me in the background of my race weekend from where I sat, and I will not be taking Firmin Aldeguer into account because he only drove on the Friday after that pretty massive crash. Anyways, then let's get into P22 last place. The only driver with an absurdly low rating is Franco Morbidelli. Off pace on the Ducati, which is the second best bike. And then he crashed in the main race while being at the back. So I don't think he should be on the bike next season. And I don't think that Ducati thinks that either, so that's positive. Then we have a tied P19 between Vinales, Binder and Mir, and we jump up to double of what Morbidelli had over 4 out of 10. Binder and Vinales drove colorless race weekends, like Binder sadly did a lot of the time this season. Vinales still injured, but also that crash on social media earlier the weekend didn't really help his chances of getting a seat next season. And Johan Mir crashed out twice on the opening lap, but his qualifying kind of saved his rating because otherwise he would be down there with Morbidelli because he did have pace but he just crashed. Then we have Toprak, 4.5 out of 10. Yeah, he didn't really have the pace to be honest, but qualifying in last place behind Crutchlow and Augusto Fernandez. And then had a technical failure in the race, I believe, so that's why he's so far down. But he did have some pace during the race, so that's positive for him. Then we have Marco Bezzecchi. Obviously pace isn't the issue this weekend, but he kind of bottled, and that was a really, really heavy crash in that Amshoek. Glad to see that he was alright, because that could have ended so bad. P17 for him. Then we have a tied P14. Everybody here has a 5.5 out of 10. So this is in the Netherlands what we would consider a good grade or above average grade. Moreira obviously crashed out during practice. I can't remember whether he crashed out during the race. That's not positive then, but Miller crashed during, I believe, sprint, and Marini just had a bit of an off weekend because usually he is a little bit of Mir, but if Mir didn't crash, if then he wouldn't even be near him, to be honest, this weekend. He had a bit of a downer. So these guys had pretty similar weekends. Then Crutchlow and Fernandez also had pretty similar weekends. Both are not permanent drivers. Fernandez just solid test work for Yamaha. And Crutchlow, he is improving because he stayed ahead of Fernandez the whole sprint race with exception of the final lap. And I was kind of disappointed. But still hoping to see one of my favorite drivers do better riders next weekend. Then we have P11 Rins, 6.5 out of 10, just solid weekend from Rins. It wasn't even that bad. I believe he got points in the race as well. Didn't do anything wrong. Was off the pace compared to Quartararo, but that's basically as to be expected. Then a tied P8 between the two Renault Ducati drivers, factory team, and Acosta. All of them had pretty similar weekends. Acosta and Pecco both obviously retired in the race due to issues, but they did have the pace. Acosta had his bike just quitting 3 times the weekend. That was... yeah, they really need to fix that, because we don't want to see a repeat of what happened in Barcelona. And Mark was just a bit off pace, so that's why his rating is a bit lower as well. And he had a crash in qualifying, I believe. I'm not even sure. Or did he have an issue in qualifying? He was off the pace, P7, one of his lowest qualifying efforts. Then we have Martin, obviously getting the pole in P7, but he couldn't convert it into a win, neither in the sprint nor the GP. So he has a 7.5 out of 10. Tied P5 between Bastianini and Quartararo, both performing way above what the bike had in mind, especially Quartararo, but I must say that Bastianini came as more of a surprise. Although he was there last weekend as well, so that's a plus for him. But yeah, that's why he is in P5 alongside Quartararo. Then with an 8.5 out of 10, we have Fabio Di Giannantonio. Yeah, he was racy. He looked really racy. I was going to give him a 7 up until the race, because he was performing good, but not amazing or anything. But then he just sent it on Marquez, didn't make the corner, long lap, then fought back again. I really enjoyed seeing him race, and if I didn't listen to just the facts, I would have placed him higher. But it was, great weekend to root for Di Giannantonio. So good weekend for him. He finished P4 just outside the podium, and he made up some points as well, did Martin. So that's great to see. Tied P2, both with a 9 out of 10. Raul Fernandez and Alex Marquez. Alex Marquez, because he recovered pretty good, went completely. He did some. He did practice the Friday in Brno, but he did the full weekend. He stayed seated, didn't really make any mistakes. One crash during the Friday, a pretty hefty one at that, but he kept pushing, and he got some points in the end. Stayed with the group, and I think we should be able to expect him fight more up front from next weekend onwards. And Raul Fernandez obviously won the sprint, grabbed the 1-2 in the sprint with Ogura in P2, and then other way around during the GP. So both of these gentlemen get a 9 out of 10. And then P1 Ogura, 10 out of 10. If his whole shut device didn't shut down during the sprint, I think he could have grabbed the double. He was absolutely flying this weekend, and I think this is, I find it sad that he's probably not going to stay in MotoGP for next season, because he has the potential like he's shown in Moto2 2 seasons ago. But yeah, first win. I think he'll get at least 2 more this season, because it has been close these past couple of weeks, and he finally grabbed it here. So yeah, that's my list for this weekend, and I hope to see you again in the near future. Not sure if I'll do a ranking like this anymore, but I can make more MotoGP content. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. And in the meantime, see you next time. I'm working on a big video with a friend of mine. It's about another sport that I don't really watch, but I wanted to make a video with him. So we're gonna be talking about something that involves a ball, and that's mostly where I stop with watching sports. But anyways, we're gonna watch that, and yeah, more Formula 1 content, and especially more animation and movie content coming soon. So stay tuned, and in the meantime, have a great one. Goodbye.